welcome to Ancestrally Speaking. It's the last one of 2020. How are you all doing? 2020. What a year, what a year, what a year. Welcome in. Ancestrally Speaking is where we get to speak to the kinds of people that are moving in the world through an ancestral and a kind of like, what can we say? A more kind of African traditional kind of sense, right? And so we speak to these people and we give them our flowers because we love the work that they're doing. And also we just talk about the real stuff too, right? You know, because we're all living this human experience. So welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Simone Bresi-Ando. I am the CEO of Bresi-Ando Tools for Living, but also the creator of the Adinkra Ancestral Guidance Cards. Okay, so today we have the most amazing photographer called Saddi Khali, who will be joining us in 5, 3, 2, 1. He'll be coming up, and I'm so super excited to have him here. Welcome, everybody. Saddi!
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
how are you? How's it going?
I'm lovely. I'm lovely. A little sleepy, but
Good.
good.
Good,
How
good, good.
you?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm lovely and sleepy. These are two things that I definitely am, right? So it's so important that we get the rest, particularly, you know, sort of like the end of the year and just renewing and refreshing. But Sadie, first of all, I want to give you your flowers. You do some
Ah,
amazing work. You do some
thank you
amazing
kindly.
work because you're basically coming through a decolonizing lens. And so my whole being, my whole kind of journey to kind of creating my Adinka ancestral cards, my relationship with African traditional religions has been because I'm decolonizing my life, right? And so
Hmm.
you've certainly taken up, you know, this kind of mantle, and you're doing it through visual imagery, and you're challenging us to see things different. So I'm going to hand over to you to introduce yourself to the people. I think a lot of people know you because they're all up on here like, I love your work. But tell the people who you are, Sadie.
Saddi Khali, from New Orleans. I am um, an artist who believes in that we've come here fully equipped with everything we
Right,
need to get ourselves together.
right.
And so sometimes we need to do something, see something, experience something that jolts our memory,
Mm-hmm.
that shocks us back into recognizing, oh, somewhere I picked up that I couldn't do this, or that I wasn't good enough, or that I wasn't powerful or beautiful enough. And I just need something to remind me.
Mm-hmm.
And the process that I've created has been we in the beginning you introduced it as decolonizing, and for the longest that's what I called the decolonizing beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had to take a break from the decolonizing process.
Mm-hmm. It's
Um,
heavy. It's a heavy process.
not only is it heavy, but it also is centering
Mm.
colonization,
Okay.
colonizing, colonizers.
Right.
And uh, I had to realize and recognize in myself that what I was working toward for myself and to assist others in was not to center what had been done,
Mm.
but to relocate
Right.
what's already laying there waiting on us to access it,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't have anything to do with
Colonizers,
colonizers.
colonization
Yeah,
systems. I
none of
get you.
that. Yeah, it's we don't have enemies in them. They're not formidable enough for us. It's up to us to be kinder to us,
Mm-hmm.
to be intentional about
Yeah,
where we see ourselves and what's available to us and what we can be and what we can do.
I love that.
Um, So I'm ready to relaunch, but I'm
Mm.
still focusing on what name
Mm-hmm.
it will be that is not about decolonizing.
Colonizing. Interesting. I
Yeah.
love that. And you know,
Mm.
it's so funny because as I talk, I've always spoken about my decolonization journey, which is what led me into being, okay, well, the very first thing I need to do is decolonize my spiritual practice, right? Because for me, it was like, well, you know, all the things I know about whiteness and white supremacy, there's no way I can trust their religion. It just didn't feel good for me, right? And so
Agreed.
as you move through decolonizing, you get to the point where you're like, I don't even see you in this picture anymore, because you're so centered, you're so clear. The clarity of self is so clear that you then are like, oh shit, this work is deeper than any external force or any myth or any ideology. This is all me. This is about repairing ancestral traditions, restoring them, you know, revaluating them, just doing the work around that, but also putting yourself in the center of all the things you want, that you are the power to kind of generate everything that you want, right? So I totally
Right.
understand where you are, and I understand about relaunches and refreshes. Like, we need them. And I give you all the power in the world, because you know, so many times the words that you've chosen to accompany your photos, that's where the shift. Not only have I been, so I would admit I was jarred by some of your photos, because I'm like, damn, that looks like my body, and I would never show that part of my body to everyone on Instagram. And then I started doing the unpicking. But why do you feel like that, Simone? Why is this body that looks like yours jarring you? Why are you staring so intently at the stretch marks, at the folds? Why you do? Because this is how you look at yourself. And so while I got through all of that, I then looked at your words, and then I got shifted again. So tell me about these words. Like, how do you come up with your captions? Because they're amazing.
So I was a writer before I picked up the camera,
Okay, makes sense.
and it was feeling dis dissatisfied with where with writing's access to people. You know, it seemed like there was a niche. If you're into writing, then you read. Otherwise, the technology is changing in ways people consume words. So, in feeling kind of disenchanted, I went to a mentor, OG. He's transitioned now. His name is Tom Dent, and I was telling him I was feeling, you know, kind of disenchanted, and I was just looking for inspiration. And I was considering picking up a camera just to inspire myself. And he happened to reach back on a shelf behind him, and there was this old Pentax K1000, which is a camera older than both of us, and maybe even him too. He had it sitting on the shelf, and he handed it to me. I started photographing everything. I always saw writing as a visual art, so the opportunity to create the visuals in a you know, with a different tool was exciting to me.
Right.
And then I happened across two photo books. One was Black Ladies by Uwe Omer, and the other was Soul by Thierry Lagua, or something like that. I'm not certain how to pronounce his name.
Right.
If you saw the movie Belly,
Oh, yeah.
in DMX's house, Thierry Lagua's, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but his work was all over DMX's house.
Okay.
So I saw this stuff. It was really, really beautiful. I'm like, okay, I'm shooting everything. I want to try this as well.
Yeah.
I started shooting couples I knew, friends, women I was dating, and all of the images in the books were models. The people I related to weren't models. You know, growing up in an Afrocentric community, African features were celebrated. So what was beautiful to me was a lot broader than the media's version of
Yeah.
beauty.
Yes.
And I thought it was interesting and dope and whatever, but it was when I started putting my work online and asking for
Mm-hmm.
critique
Mm.
that people started sharing, things like you just said. Like I was thrown off because I would never show that. And then I looked again and then I'm like, oh, but that looks like me. And, you know,
That's
all of
it.
these things that started telling me what I
Yeah.
was doing
Yeah.
because I really didn't know it.
Yeah.
And then as I paid more attention,
Mm-hmm.
I watched people's responses
Mm-hmm.
to themselves, seeing the images of themselves and being like, wow, I've
Mm.
never seen me like that.
Right.
Um, and so I was traveling with a theater company,
Mm-hmm.
a theater show actually about Hurricane Katrina.
Mm.
Um, which happened in New Orleans. And
Yes.
so in me traveling, I started saying online, I'm going to be in this place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and people would
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, while you're here, can I book a session with you? So now I'm getting paid to do this. Okay, I'll do it,
Right.
sure.
Right.
And I photographed one woman in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the shoot, she was already like, okay, when can we
Mm.
plan a second shoot? And I was like, well, I'm not touring here again.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, if you if I start a group on Facebook
Right.
and get other people to book you, would you
Yeah.
come then? And
Right.
I said, yes, I would. And so she started a group. I don't know, bring Saddi to Chicago or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
And I went there and I photographed 20 clients.
Amazing.
So from that moment on, when people would ask me, I would tell them to start a group. Uh, Currently, there are, I think over 50 groups worldwide.
Wow.
So depending
Yeah.
on where you are, you
Yeah.
can look up my name and the name of your city, and
Right.
there may be a group. So, so I started creating this process around being comfortable, being vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
being intimate,
Mm.
feeling safe enough to choose these things. Um,
Safety is a big
and what
thing when creating
it's a
art.
big thing,
Yeah.
right? Right. And what do what do you look like when there's nothing against you and nothing to defend? What do you look like
And there's nothing to defend. What
when,
do you look like? I love that. When there's
yeah,
nothing to
when
defend, what do you look
everything
like?
is about
Mm-hmm.
uh, the greatness
Mm-hmm.
that the Creator made,
Mm-hmm.
and in the camera, you could look
Mm-hmm.
at the back of the camera and see the picture I just took,
Yeah.
and see if you're holding your mouth tight, and
Mm-hmm.
see if your posture's
Mm-hmm.
protective,
Yeah.
see what your guard looks like,
Yeah.
and then for me to coach you out of it and show you in the next photograph
Mm-hmm.
how much differently you look
Right.
when you're feeling good, when you accept yourself, when all of the stuff that you usually carry around with you is not the context,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And so it became a healing experience for people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and for me as somebody who I think has been in the process of learning love and nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
This has been my learning.
Yes.
You know,
I
it's
love it.
the process of learning nurture.
I love that. I love it for so many reasons, because I think in particular Black women really need this type of healing work, right? They really need to kind of see themselves outside of these paradigms that have been forced on them, and I think forced on them more than any other of their sort of female counterparts. So it's incredibly um, it's just so important to how we identify with ourselves, how we see ourselves, this work that you're doing, that it's so central to just challenging every single thing. Because yeah, we got the body positivity movement and things like that, but what does it look like when our roles and our dimples and cellulited body and all, what does it look and feel like, and why are you feeling like this? And I love that your photography really challenges you to get comfortable. That's what it says. It's like, get comfortable. It's not challenging you to feel ashamed or to be self-critical. It's more like, all right, I've got to love myself. That's what, you know, that's the question that your work has. And so, you know, it feels like your journey was kind of like, well, I'm going to do this, and oh, okay, more people want it, and okay, let's go, kind of thing. And I've got many moments like that myself in some of my kind of business endeavors. But do you, I mean, your spiritual practice, talk to me about that. What is your spiritual practice, and do you feel that's had a role to play in the photographer put my teeth back in, that you are today?
So yes, I'm initiated into Ifa, and Ifa is a African traditional spiritual healing system.
It is.
And so I went to Ibadan, Nigeria in 2012, and basically was spiritually hazed into
that's a great word
into through this initiation. And Ifa has been a major, I guess, a guide. It's been my guide through this process, because all of this built itself around me. I wasn't like, you know what, I want to do this kind of work and such and such. I just followed what I was hearing, and things unfolded, and I just kept following. So it's been a major part, because it's told me when, okay, now it's time to take a break, you know.
Of course.
Now you got to focus on self.
Yes.
Excuse me, there's more healing for you to do. There's, you know, we want to be able to do everything at once.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we try to. But there's a lot of martyrdom in our need to save the world and save ourselves. And so
somehow I feel it's forced on Black people, that martyrdom, and that energy of, you know.
Yes, I don't say forced. I would say encouraged. It's been a tradition that we've carried, and we've watched our parents do it, and we watched our grandparents do it.
Yeah.
And I got to the point of being able to see what a lifelong martyrdom looked like on my grandmother, and what lifelong martyrdom looks like on my mother. And saying, you know what, I don't know if this is getting the result that we intend, you know. And I've been learning about results, being right versus results. And the results didn't look like where I wanted to end up as I grow older. And so, okay, what adjustments, what fine tuning, what questioning, you know, what interrogation of this way do I need to do? And one of them was like, you know, over this lifetime, there were things that my grandmother never got to learn, because there was nobody around to teach her. And then my mother didn't get to learn, because there was nobody there to teach her. And if I don't stop, and if I don't stop and start to try to learn some of these things myself, nobody's there to teach me, you know, otherwise. And so I needed to stop. I needed to learn what loving inward looked like, more than loving outward. Because if I love myself, you're going to get the love of my overflow.
Because it comes out.
But if
you can't contain
it.
Right.
But if I'm loving you from out, outside of myself and not starting from the inside,
Right.
then I'm giving you fumes, really. I'm on E and I'm giving you the fumes.
Oh,
And
and we
that
know about fumes. We know about
love ain't
fumes.
great to you and it ain't great to me.
Yeah.
So I had to stop and love up on myself and
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
figure out what that even looks like
Yes.
and recognize that I have total autonomy and agency
Yes.
over my
Yeah.
life and my choices.
Yes.
And I really could stop whatever I was doing that people knew me for
Mm-hmm.
and take a break
Mm-hmm.
and do what I think was necessary and needed for
Mm-hmm.
me,
Mm-hmm.
and that there would still be people there when it was time for me to return.
Right.
Um, and this whole time, it's been 4 years since I took any of those images. And the whole time, people have been like, when you coming back? When you coming back? When you coming back?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the space where I'm ready.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I'm adding, so I don't have a date for you this morning.
Yes, fine.
But I'm
Because you've got a
saying it
faithful
to your
following.
audience
You've got a faithful following, so they're going to be ready for you. You know what I mean? Like the
for
date will
sure, for
come, and when
sure.
it comes, they'll be like, click, we're
And
doing
I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that for sure.
it.
Yeah. So it's time, and I realize that this work is a collaboration. I used to
Yes.
think, oh, I am the scientist and I'm going to come and cut through 20, 30 years of your stuff to get to your vulnerable. But
Right.
I can't do
Can't
it
do that
without
alone.
you. Yeah. I can't do something for you.
Mm-hmm.
I can hold your hand and walk through it with you. I can be
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable with you and we can discover it together.
Right.
And I think that's a powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes we've been taught in more Western perspectives that somebody somewhere else is going to come in and save us and change everything for us, as opposed to we already got within us all the stuff we need, and
Exactly.
we just have to relearn how to use it. You
That's
know?
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Relearn our power. There's so many
Hmm.
gems in what you've said. And I think, the spiritual paths that we find ourselves on are
Hmm.
really important to kind of centering how we can present ourselves in the world, how we can heal in the world and heal ourselves, but also just how we can leave a framework, a legacy for other people, for other generations to kind of latch onto and be like, okay, this kind of works. This, I get this. Because as you said, you saw how your mother and your grandmother had been
Hmm.
martyrs, but they didn't have the tools to do it differently, that maybe wouldn't have burnt them out so much, or maybe the results would have been a little bit more, conducive to what we might see as success. And that's really important, right? We're looking back and we're like, okay,
Hmm.
well, I want to do this differently. And that's very much what happens in this kind of heart-led work. How can we live
Hmm.
differently so we're actually living our fullest selves? And so I want to ask you about 2020.
Okay.
How has 2020 been to you? Because we know the general 2020, oh my goodness. But what has it meant to
Hmm.
you? Because I'm really interested in that question. And I'll tell you why after you answer. So how has 2020 been for you? What's your kind of take on the year?
Okay. So initially, I'm living in Miami now,
Mm-hmm.
and the first day of quarantine
Mm-hmm.
um, started the night of my birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so I am rented a boat. I'm out on the
Mm.
water,
Oh,
and
I
when
miss
I
Miami.
arrived
When you
back,
talk about I really miss Miami. I haven't done my annual
yeah,
trip, so sorry. I miss it. Just talking, I'm like, oh God, take me back. Go on. Yeah.
when uh, when I returned back to the dock,
Yeah.
the news was saying, everything is
Yeah.
closed now. Go home.
Wow.
And of course, this is happening
Mm-hmm.
while the very public murderings of black people by police
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
racist white people are happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, And, I'm ending up only living online. My only connection to the outside world is online at that point.
Yeah.
And everything I'm consuming is coming from online. And it started hitting me that I was feeling really miserable. That all of the news, none of it was, even in my timeline, the things that people were sharing, the memes and stuff, all of it felt really, really harmful to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I ended up taking a break, and some folks hit me with this, a homie of mine hit me with a 21-day abundance thing that was going around for everybody. It was like an abundance meditation.
Right.
I did this thing for 21 days, and it just made me feel amazing. Focusing on what I wanted instead of what was happening or what I was being told was happening to me.
Yeah.
And then through that, I connected with a group of brothers who, for the past 15 years, it's about 10 to 12 brothers, have met either in person on a call or on a call for the past 15 years around emotional accountability and manhood and health and, health and well-being. And so connecting with these brothers started giving me a squad of people who were working on things that I was working on, but didn't feel like I had teachers or tools or whatever. And, when you use an Ifa, there is something called Suru. Suru is patience, perseverance, and endurance. And in Ifa, you got to use the hell out of your Suru because, the Creator's time.
It's the time.
Takes time. Yeah.
Right. And it's the only time, really.
It's the only time. And either you chill and allow, or you try to control and you add to your misery, So in allowing, these things started showing up for me. One of the brothers in the group is a master of transcendental meditation. So I got connected to this transcendental meditation and got a training in that. And it's basically, we have these things that we learn and we want to do stuff with it, but usually it's an intellectual perspective.
Yeah.
I can think about all the stuff that happened to me in my life, but how to undo it or remove it or whatever. I didn't really have a practical,
like
tool
framework
to do this.
tools,
Right. Well, the TM comes up and it basically is there. I'm doing the work with these brothers to shake up the stuff.
Right.
And then I do the TM and it basically helps you release the stuff, So I'm walking around lighter, I'm walking around freer. And then I got to the point where I decided, it seems like there's some programming in how I'm supposed to experience this quarantine. And, coming from online, it's supposed to be so bad. This is the worst year ever. This is so terrible. And I'm like, wait, I'm not
feeling that.
I'm not feeling that.
Right.
Yeah. I'm feeling like this is one of the best things that could have happened because now I have to focus on myself. Now I'm in here and I got to take care of my stuff. There's nothing else, for me to do.
Yes.
So in that, I've been intentional, I've been quarantining. I've been curating my quarantine. So if that means I'm going to quarantine in Turks and Caicos for a while, I'm going to do that. If that means I'm going to go
Take me with you.
To the Keys,
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. If that, I'm not going to allow somebody else to curate how
Hmm.
I'm going to spend this time.
Right.
I'm going to curate it,
Yeah.
and a lot of even my curation
Hmm.
is going to be led. I'm
Hmm.
going to allow, and
Hmm.
I'm just going to receive and accept.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and so this has been an amazing time.
Yeah.
I could probably say I feel better than ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I can appreciate that.
right, and I am. I just got to find a good barber, and then I'm ready to come back into the world.
I love it. I mean,
Mm,
this is the thing. It's for a lot of people in my circles. 2020 has been a gift.
mm,
It's been a gift of giving ourselves space to really change and do the work that's gonna set us up for what the age of Aquarius has got in store for us, right?
mhm,
Because everything's gonna shift. Like whether
mhm,
people like it or not, all that shit that we've been used to, bye bye. You know, the devaluation of truth, devaluating nature and Mother Nature and everything she's created for us, and just the creation, the energy of creation, how we devalue that, how we don't pay creators what they're worth, how we don't respect their work, how their work gets stolen and
mhm,
appropriated and things like that. We're going to restore all these things that kind of help us to be human, help us to be
mhm,
connected, help us to thrive. And so 2020 was the gift, and within that, there
mhm,
was loss. Definitely,
mhm,
there's grief and there's shift and there's
mhm,
change and uncertainty and fear and anxiety, but there's also opportunity. In every
mhm,
single time of crisis, there's opportunity, right? And so it's interesting to me to how people in my circles, people I follow, are kind of like, this has been a year where it's been a gift. Like I've really benefited from this year. It hasn't been, my God, this is the worst. Some bits have been terrible, that's for sure.
mhm,
But I think it's also because for me personally, my 2020 happened in 2015. I've already had a
mhm,
2020 type of year, right?
mhm,
And I didn't really kind of recover from that until about 2017, where I felt like I could
mhm,
walk again because I was knocked off my block in many ways, you
mhm,
know what I mean? And so when everything is hitting you from top, left, and bottom, you're just like, I just have to lay down and take the L right now. And then you gather, and then you build, and then you're stronger, and then you're more fortified and more clear in what you do. So yeah, 2020 is definitely, I would say it's a gift, and I understand there's lots of grief and loss for people, but it's really important that we also see the opportunities that we've been given in this year as well. So
Well,
yeah, go
that
ahead.
in change comes with stuff happening. Something has to happen for change to occur.
Exactly.
I
Something
can't
has to
have my
go.
everyday.
Yeah.
Something has to go, and unfortunately, sometimes that's people and things that we've been connected to and attached to.
Hmm.
Um, but I've been definitely working on my detachment. That 2015 year,
Mm.
definitely that 4 years,
Woo. Yeah.
of I ain't doing nothing but me
Yeah.
came from 2015.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but and no buts and
In
uh,
addition, I'm learning to do that too.
right. And I wouldn't have had the perspective of focusing on me and recognizing that I had needs that I needed to address.
Right.
If things hadn't gone so roughly for me, you
Yeah.
know,
That's it.
and to make the room to get relationships and connections that were toxic,
Yeah.
to address my own toxicity,
Right.
you know,
And why we stay in it when we know, why we
why
don't
we
cut
stay
off
in
quicker.
it,
Yeah.
why we don't cut off quicker,
Yeah.
why it exists because of the culture that I've been living in, or the relationship I have to myself
Yeah.
that says I'm expecting people to treat me in ways I don't treat myself.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
needed to be the example for the
Yes.
world. I need to
Yeah.
set the example. And in that,
Mhm.
I had to learn how to treat myself. I had to learn
Yes.
how to regard myself.
Mhm.
I had to learn um, how to trust myself. I had to learn how to forgive myself. I
Right.
had to learn how to own the harm I caused while I was being harmed
Yes.
and atone for that,
For that. Right. Right.
Yeah.
And take the
And
responsibility of that as well.
apologize. Yeah, and
Right.
apologize for that.
And also accept that that apology may not be taken. That apology may not travel the way you want it to travel, and to also own that too, right? Because
I
we
mean,
do those
that's,
things. Yeah.
yeah, I can't control how my efforts land.
This is it.
Uh,
This is it.
all I can do is, kind of
Hmm.
do what I intend to the
Right.
best of my ability.
Exactly.
And what
And
it's going to
whatever
be is one
happens.
of those things I just have to allow.
Yeah. It's so funny, right? So as you're talking, and obviously, I've created this Adinkra Ancestral Guidance card. So as you're talking, there's a card that is exactly what you're talking about. You had to show people, you had to model how you wanted to be
Hmm.
treated. And so what do?
Hmm.
I grab my cards and literally I just put my hand together to pull them out. And the exact card I was thinking of is literally what
Uh,
comes out. Of course, thank you, ancestors. You knew what you were doing. You never fail me with the messages. A coconine. So this is leg of a hen, right? And what this
hmm.
means is that the hen treads on her chicks, but she does not hurt them. And so when this
Hmm.
comes up in a reading, I'm always saying to people, you need to teach people how to treat you, right? You need
Hmm.
to put the boundaries in for self and others. And you have to
Hmm.
model that. So other people are like, oh, this is someone who loves herself. So I've got to love her too, on her terms.
Right.
And so everything you were saying, I was like, Sakokanan, this is what he's talking about. This is it.
Hmm.
So this is your card, most definitely. This is the card
Sweet.
for you and the
Sweet.
symbol. And it's just important that this kind of work, where we're trying to shift and change and improve and empower, is heart-led work. It's heavy work. And if we don't take the time to kind of, you know, take time for ourselves to really reflect on what more we need, because it's in
Hmm.
stages, this process, right? You kind of get to one stage and it's like, okay, I feel like I've mastered this, and then it's like, okay, well, what am I doing now? You know what I mean? And I think for me it
Hmm.
feels like maybe that's where the 4-year period has been. What am I doing now?
Hmm.
What's next? How do I take this to another level that feels good for me too, that I'm still
Definitely.
benefiting.
Oh,
And it's, yeah.
and how do I center myself in it? Because
Right.
I am doing work
Hmm.
that that some people respond to as
Hmm.
healing,
Right.
and the way I was doing it was hurting me
Right.
because it
Yes.
wasn't taking care of me in it.
Yes.
And so
I
it,
get
it
that.
hit me that there was some miscommunications in it, that this work was about women. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and the truth is, it's about love,
Yeah.
and men are included in love, and men
Oh,
need
yeah.
that love too.
Oh, yes.
And some of my couples work is the strongest and most
Mm-hmm.
powerful to me, because it shows two people
Mm-hmm.
um, loving on each other. And
Yeah.
sometimes we think it's somebody else, or Saddi comes in to heal such and such, and
Mm-hmm.
no, Saddi is not coming in to heal you. Saddi is healing himself with you, and
Mm-hmm.
making a space for you to come in and heal
Mm-hmm.
with me.
Yes.
And that's whoever hires me, whatever they see themselves as, call themselves, the
Yeah.
creator made them, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, all of us need the work and need a space where we can just pilot
Yeah.
who we are
Yeah.
and what we're like. And there are not many spaces in the world that are built around your comfort, your well-being,
Mm-hmm.
your goodness, your pleasure, your beauty,
Mm-hmm.
um, in a internal way. The images are just the result of what happened in the session. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you come in and you open and allow the images look, the way they
Yeah.
look, and if you come in and you're like, Um, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm waiting, for this man to be a man because, men are all such and such. And
Hmm.
all of this stuff you're waiting on, your pictures will look like that.
Right,
So,
right.
so it's definitely um, a collaboration and who we together
Hmm.
access,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it requires the vulnerability of both of us,
Mm.
or all of us if you bring,
Hmm.
your spouse, your couple, your lover,
Yeah,
whoever,
yeah.
um, your baby, you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
whoever. Yeah.
I love that. So you said something that I'm like, okay, we have to talk about this. Men have to
Hmm.
be included in love, right? And the reason why we have to talk about this is because this society doesn't naturally, instinctively include men in those conversations, in those feelings, in those energies. So
And then
what have
expects from us,
to love?
expects
Right,
us to love
right.
while
Just like that.
never teaching us how.
How
Yeah.
to ever.
And then we're
And
held accountable for our not knowing, you know.
yes, exactly.
Um, and so there are so many memes
Mm.
in my timeline about a real man, a real woman,
Yeah.
what's wrong with the other
Yeah.
from the other's perspective.
Hmm.
And I feel like it's not a feeling. It's clear we've both been oppressed.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
both been harmed, and in a culture of harm, we
Hmm.
become harmful to each other.
Hmm.
And if
Hmm.
we're not intentional, um, we will be seeking love from each other
Yeah.
while using tactics and instruments of war. And it is very
Wow.
important for
That's
us to
deep.
develop um, loving ways, loving ways of healing from love, loving ways of growing love together.
Mm.
If I have you with all my arms and all my weapons pointed at you, and I'm like, love me right. There's nothing in
Mm.
that is
Mm. Yeah.
safe and nurturing and
Yeah.
a space to help that love flourish. And I think we
Yeah.
have to learn love together, both of us,
Yes.
all of us.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what better space to do that in where you come in and it's created for you to do that, and then you leave with
Mm.
images that are a vision board for what you look like when you do that, and you can project that image into the world, and say, this is who I am, this is how
Hmm.
I am, this is how I love.
Hmm. Yeah. Can you hear me? Sorry, it's gone a little crazy here on my side. Right. Yeah. Okay. It's gone back to normal. Sorry, my
Okay, yeah,
internet's a
yeah,
little crazy, I think. Yeah. But
okay,
I totally hear you. It's something we have to learn together. So we were talking about
yeah.
men and love and how they have to be a part of that conversation and that healing kind of process. But what would you say, because it's difficult, right? You know why I'm saying it's difficult? It's difficult as a
Mm-hmm.
woman that we've been socialized to love. We've been socialized to be frank, it's the only thing and spaces that we're allowed to kind of flourish because it's emotional work, that the patriarchy wants us to do and only do. Yeah. And so, how do we work together with our male counterparts when we are slightly more developed in terms of love with people who are not so developed? How are we able to do that without us burning out, without us taking on a lot of the duty and the work? How do we do that? Do you have any ideas around that?
I think you just made that up. I think
I made it up.
I think women have been taught to martyr. I don't think they've been taught to love.
To love.
I
Interesting.
I,
Very
I
true.
think they've been taught to serve or to do things
True.
for people in spite of their own well-being or their needs
Hmm.
or their desires.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and men have been taught another way
Hmm.
to not have outlets,
Yeah.
and to not engage
Hmm.
all of the things that are occurring inside them and around them.
Mm.
And so we have these two people socialized away from each other.
Mm.
And each person, uh, well, I can't say each person. I think you said what you said based on a marketing campaign that
Mm.
says women know how to love and men don't.
Mm.
And the truth is, we both have been taught harmful ways of doing it, harmful to
True.
ourselves and
Yeah.
to each other. And so the only way for me to find love with you
Mm-hmm.
means we have to show a lot of grace. We
Mm-hmm.
have to talk. We have to talk. We have
Mm.
to have a
Communication.
conversation that says,
Yes.
yeah, like, this is what's going on with me. This is what I think. This is what I feel.
Mm.
How does that work for you?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you agree? What is your perspective? So on and so forth. Because if we don't learn each other,
Yeah.
then we come in with all of the stuff somebody else taught us,
Yeah.
and
You're right.
that stuff that we've been carrying has not been serving us well, and a
Mm.
perspective that you know and I don't doesn't serve us well, and a
Mm-hmm.
perspective that what you're doing isn't working for you, but it's right,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
is not it.
No.
And so if I know that me and you have to learn together, we both don't know.
Mm.
We both need to show each other grace in our figuring it out.
Right.
We both need to be open. We both need to agree
Mm-hmm.
to an intention,
Mm-hmm.
and hold ourselves accountable to that intention.
Right.
Then we can discover together what it is, as
Yeah.
opposed to thinking I knew it or I didn't know it or whatever.
Mm.
Because even after you get off, me and you get off this call, and there's
Mm-hmm.
another gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
the way you and him figure out love together is going to be
Mm-hmm.
different than the way you and I
Yeah.
do it.
Of course. Because of our
You know,
journeys and our experiences
'cause
and
right,
everything.
right.
Yeah. And I guess, yeah, you're right. You know, everyone's starting at ground zero. There
Hmm.
isn't anyone ahead of the game. There really isn't, because the oppression, the socialization has been as devastating to both sexes, right? Um, I guess maybe where some of that statement was coming from was just that because of our socializations, there is, we have toxic masculinity. There are ways that we perform our gender roles or whatever people are telling us that we should behave like, that is just harmful on both sides. On both sides, right?
Right,
And
but
so
you didn't say toxic femininity though, which
because
means
I still believe that the aspects which people call toxic femininity are straight patriarchy. It's just that we're
hmm
heavily attached to them. So I think, and I also think that because just like blackness has been created as the antithesis of whiteness, I'm not sure in
hmm
femininity has been created in its own self, standing without an opposition to masculinity. And so that's why
hmm
toxic femininity for me is not a tag that I like to use, because it's straight patriarchal behavior. And I think, and I'm not saying that women can't be toxic. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that because femininity is couched in the opposition of masculinity, we're just seeing toxic masculinity played out by women, the same way we see white
hmm
supremacy played out by black people. Like, it's an idea that people have to cling on to and support and maintain,
hmm
rather than it being this phenomenon. So for me, and I was thinking about this, what is toxic femininity? And all I kept thinking was,
So
it's a
I don't
patriarchy.
want to
But
hang
anyway.
on to the toxic
Mm-hmm.
femininity, because that word, that phrasing to me, there's probably a million words that we use for each other that white people came up with.
Right, right, right,
And
right.
um, if my problem
Mm-hmm,
is your issues,
mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
then I can never address my problem, because it's really
mm,
you who
mm-hmm,
is the problem.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But if my
Yeah.
problem is me
Mm-hmm.
addressing my stuff and how I've been taught and what
Yeah.
has worked and hasn't worked for me, if my
Mm-hmm,
problem is I have needs that I don't
mm-hmm,
know how to address yet,
mm-hmm,
if my problem is I have somebody I want to connect with, and I have to
Mm.
figure out how to connect with
With
them
them.
that's safe for them and for me.
Yeah.
Then I don't have some term that talks
Mm.
about how you're the problem. I
Yeah.
have a term that
Hmm.
talks about what we need to do
Mm.
to work through it and be
Yeah.
good together.
Yeah.
And I have agency in
Mm.
that term. That's something I can do about that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing I can do about the effects of how you responded to the effects of your oppression.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, I hear that.
it's a smokescreen if I'm looking out at you
Hmm.
and I'm not addressing my stuff, because
True.
regardless of where you at, my
Yeah.
stuff is still my stuff,
My stuff, right. And will always be there
and
if it's
our
unaddressed.
stuff is our stuff.
Yeah.
And if I have the power
Mm.
to love with you
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
and build with you and heal
Yeah.
with you,
Yeah.
I feel a lot more gangster in that
Mm.
than, man, if she don't get her stuff together, then
Right.
you know,
Yeah. I'm gonna go, or I'm gonna stop this, or fuck this, all the things we say.
or they, them. It's all them. They're this way. They act like
Right.
this. They're wrong.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
not not. Hey, this is how we've been affected.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
what can we do to
Hmm.
address how we've
Yeah.
been affected? What kind of
Hmm.
grace do we need to show ourselves and each other to even get to a point where we can work together?
Yeah.
Uh, can we speak candidly about what has happened and how it's affected us? And do we have the opportunity to
Mhm.
forgive, or what is a better word? Uh,
Empathize?
reconcile,
Reconcile?
to reconcile
Hmm.
the harm we've done
Mm.
to each other while being harmed.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
maybe we can create a culture of no harm. Maybe we can create an
Yes.
agreement of no harm.
I
Maybe
love
we
that.
can
An
create
agreement of no
guidelines and
harm.
rules
I love
of
that.
no harm.
I love
And
that.
that way I have some active
Hmm.
agency in changing the
Changing things.
situation
I love
as
it.
opposed to just pointing fingers and blaming.
Yeah.
Does that
I
make
love
sense?
that. I totally
Mm,
makes sense. And I love that because you said maybe we can create an agreement of no harm. It's certainly something I seek because I can see the
mm,
power when we are together, when we heal together, instead of a group healing here, a group not
mm,
healing, another group kind of looking on saying that looks nice, but not sure I'm going to do that. Like if we
mm,
really come together, and the first stages of that coming together is going to be really fractious, right? Because all of the pain is undealt with, unchecked. It's never really had a space to be
mm,
spoken about or expressed, and so it's going to be really fractious at the beginning. And lots of people will be turned off by that, but that's the work, right? Because I think about my own healing, and it was fractious in the
mm,
beginning. Lots of crying, scream, and just all the emotions because it's been suppressed so long. And so it's work that we have to not be scared of. It's not going to be comfortable, but we can't be scared of it because it really is our freedom. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking
mm,
about our freedom, and we're talking about how we negotiate our freedom within ourselves. And so we can both be free and both coexist and both have the happiness and joy that we deserve. That's our right. It's our birthright to have those
mm.
things. So again, you've shifted us not only through your photography, but through your words and your thought process. And it's so very apparent in the work you do. And I know that we are excited for you to return, definitely excited for you to return. We
Mhm.
know, and it also is about educating people that creatives, people who are doing this work of change, need time. They need time not only to be human but also to learn. If the people you're
Mhm.
receiving your teaching from is not constantly learning or showing you that, no, I have to take some time to learn some stuff, you should kind of question why you're getting your teachings for someone who's not constantly trying to improve and learn. It's something that as I get older I really do look for in the people that I take
Mhm.
my guidance from. How are you learning? How do you refresh yourself? Who is guiding you? And
How
I
does your
guess,
life look? How are things going for you? Am I learning
mm,
from you and you struggling? Am I
right,
taking
mm,
advice and perspectives from you and you walking
mm,
around as a commercial for pain? Uh, you know,
mm, yeah,
do I interrogate and question the memes I'm reading? The person who's showing me
mm,
this, is there
yeah,
more,
yeah,
to this?
yeah,
And if there is,
hmm hmm
um, is it, do we have the kind of connection where we can explore that? Or do
mm,
you can the things that you're struggling with not be questioned? And if they can't be questioned and you're all right, but the
yeah,
results don't show it,
right, right, right.
you
What are
know,
we doing here?
the
Exactly.
the results to me say it all. The results, either um, the energy that's coming out of you
Yeah,
says,
yeah,
"Hey, this person is this." There's
hmm
joy, there's peace, there's
mm,
comfort, there's
hmm
something that feels good,
mm,
um, or there is like a performance.
yeah, yeah.
And so many of us perform
Oh, yes, we
health,
do. Yes.
perform, well-being,
Mm-hmm.
and if you look at the results, it's like,
Right. What are the
right,
results? And it's funny you talk about results, and that is really where we have to kind of, because sometimes we have to be careful about measurement, because some of these measures that we're putting is not from us. It's not from our culture. It's not from,
right,
our grounding, our center. It's not from us. So we're beating ourselves with these sticks that someone's imposed on us. And actually, they are not even living up to. You know what I mean? So thinking about results, thinking about manifestation, thinking about what we're trying to create for ourselves. What's your kind of hopes for 2021? I would say personally, and then sort of like societally, and what are you kind of feeling for 2021 coming?
um, so for 2021 for me,
Mm-hmm.
um, is greatness with effortless ease,
Mm-hmm.
meaning I don't have to go out and try really hard to be.
Yeah.
Um, I I decide what is my focus. I put it in, and then I allow um, whatever the result to show
Mm-hmm.
me how well and not well I'm
Mm-hmm.
going. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and our doing has superseded our being a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I need to um, get confident in my being. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is where I am. This is who I am. This is the pace I'm moving at. This is what I've been shown. Somebody else's pace and thing looks different than me, and I don't have to compare myself to it.
To them. Yeah.
If I'm feeling good, if this thing is working for me, I'm a rock with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it's about for me, the 2021 is not becoming, but owning
Mm-hmm.
and fine tuning what greatness looks like without trying so hard that I'm hurting myself in my efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for everybody, for the world, my desire and my hope and what I visualize is us working together. So many of the avenues that we see for our healing have this separation in it. It
Yeah.
has, uh,
Divisions. Yeah.
I gotta be this, I gotta go over there. All these things that seem against instead of for.
Yeah.
And the person, the places that I've gotten the most harm from are also the places that I've needed the most hugs from. You know, the
Ooh, you just said something. Yes.
and so either I could, you know, hang out in the harm that happened when I wasn't being intentional about what I wanted,
Hmm.
or I can be more intentional about you know, the goodness that's available.
Hmm.
And I can't have true goodness without you. I
Mm.
can't. My
Hmm.
joy, my peace of mind
Yeah.
does not exclude you.
Yeah.
It won't work.
Yeah.
So I have to find a way to love with you, to heal with you, to learn with you,
Yes.
to grow with you, to build with you, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And so 21 to me is us rediscovering
Yes.
us
Hmm.
rediscovering
Hmm.
how how badly we need each other for us to
Hmm.
be all right. And
Yeah.
that if we choose us, um, then no weapon formed against us will prosper.
Shall prosper. No, it won't. Wow, you said
Yeah.
the words, Sadie. Like you said some words right now. Like, whew, I'm processing. I'm taking it on. I'm really trying to ingest everything and figure out what that's going to look like for me and what my role will be in trying to help people to platform some of these ideas and give us spaces to work it out, give us spaces to create and curate our healing so we can kind of figure that out, because together we are stronger. There is no doubt. Without each other, it's not going to happen, not the way we want it to anyway. But this is why I wanted to talk to you. This is why I got you on here. This is why I was so happy when you're like, I'm ready now. I was like, yes. I just knew it was going to be completely brilliant. And all of the kind of comments we've been getting, people are just completely soaking this up. And I could tell this was you. I could tell
Sweet.
because I saw your work and I knew that you had so much more than just the work. That you don't create work like that unless you are in this space of really wanting the best for yourself and your community. And that has shone through in everything you do. So again, I'm giving you your flowers from my heart to many other hearts that I can see on this live, that they're just like, we love you, we love you, we love you, and we thank you for everything you've done. So tell us, where can people find you? And like, when you're coming back, as you said, you don't have a date, but just give us all that information again.
Um, Basically, the best place to find me right now is Instagram.
Hmm.
That's Saddi Khali Photos.
Yeah.
And also, you can get me on Facebook, which is Saddi Khali. There's 3 pages there:
Yeah.
Saddi Khali Photos, and Saddi Khali 2.
Mm.
The website and all of the stuff will be coming soon, along
Mm.
with the announcement. And
Yes.
I toured for about a little over 10 years uh, with no home, just
Right.
city to
Right.
city, country to
Yeah.
country, group to group. I'm not going to be doing it like that anymore. I do have a home. I do need to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I want my grayer hair to stay cute. And
It's cute. You're
um,
a silver fox.
yeah. Thank you. Um, so it'll be coming soon, and look forward to that. But for now, Facebook and Instagram, more Instagram than Facebook.
Yeah, I'm like that
Yeah.
too. It just feels so much more easier somehow, Instagram. I'm also sort of dabbling in Clubhouse, so people please see us there. And actually, I want to invite you back so we could have a talk on Clubhouse if you're on there at some point. So let me know if
Okay.
you're
I
on
need
there.
to know where's the new place to go, so I'm
Oh,
open to
Clubhouse is,
Clubhouse.
is where
Yeah.
it's at, and the healing we're talking about that needs to happen. Needs to happen in there. But no, it's a great little app. It's a voice app, and it's trusting what's going on right now and the kind of conversations that are coming up. But I think this conversation would have been perfectly placed there. But again, this is
Hmm.
the start of our conversations. I definitely want to have you back, because I feel as we move through the year, as we move through the things that we're doing for ourselves, we're going to have stuff to say, right? And so
Hmm.
it's always
Hmm.
good to catch up with people that I call friends. Even though we've never met, we have definitely always been in each other's DMs, and you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so I'm just so glad that we've been able to do this. So Saddi, thank you for your time. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being on this blessed Ancestrally Speaking. Everything you
Yeah.
do, I can see you're moved by the ancestors, and it really is guiding us all to a better light within ourselves. So thank you for that work. And I guess we're going to
Thank
see
you.
you soon, right? We're going to see you soon,
Soon,
and we're going
soon.
to, yes, brilliant. And please kiss Miami for me. I missed that place. I really miss it.
Will do.
Like, yeah, this time last year I was on a boat on the seas. I really love Miami. So please kiss that place for me. I miss it. Soon come, hopefully.
Will do.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Saddi, and take care. So we'll speak soon. See you
Thank you for
later.
having me.
Of
All right.
course.
Peace.
Okay. Bye.